A couple of nights ago, I came across this tweet on X that made me really upset about OBJ. Bleacher Report had reported that OBJ was going to be a post-June release by the Baltimore Ravens, and this guy, Jared Bailey, tweets out, I say this with no disrespect to him whatsoever because it isn't his fault, the most overrated player in the history of the sport. And when I first seen this, I instantly went to the keyboard on my iPhone and I was typing up a storm. I was about to cuss this dude out for coming at OBJ like this. But then, I took 10 seconds to breathe and collect my thoughts. And the more I thought about it, the more I had to come to the reality that this dude, Jay Bailey NFL on X, is actually right. OBJ, as much as I love him, he is the most overrated player in NFL history. 15 years from now, when my kids come up to me and they ask me, hey, Dad, how good was Odell Beckham Jr.? And I'm going to ask them, what makes you ask that question? He's not playing anymore. Well, Dad, he's so popular. He has so many followers. Everybody knows him. So how good was he? And I'm going to have to tell them the harsh truth. I'm going to have to say, sons, the story of Odell Beckham Jr. is one of the saddest in NFL history. You talk about one of the most talented wide receivers to ever play the game. Hall of Fame level talent, but won't be a Hall of Famer. Why? Because a lot of Odell Beckham Jr.'s hype and popularity has solely been based mainly off one moment, one defining play of his career. And that's that one-handed grab that he had Sunday Night Football years ago against the Dallas Cowboys. It went viral, and that play alone catapulted OBJ not just to a superstar in the NFL, but a pop star, a pop figure icon in the sense, or a pop culture icon. So OBJ, his popularity just kind of exceeds how good he actually is, at least right now in the current stage of his career. Of course, we remember the Super Bowl with the Rams where he got off to that hot start, and if he never would have got injured, I really believe he would have won Super Bowl MVP with the way that game was going. It was going through Odell. That was the offense, and after that injury, the Rams offense struggled until the final minutes of the fourth quarter when they woke up. If you believe that OBJ was dealt a bad hand due to injuries or the Cleveland Browns situation not really working out for him, those, to me, are valid excuses for OBJ. But no matter how many excuses you make for OBJ, you're still going to have to come to the reality that unless he just flips the switch the last remaining years that he has left on his playing career, he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. But yet he's going to be one of the most recognizable athletes ever. OBJ may be one of the only few NFL players that could go overseas to Japan or China or Africa, and nearly everybody on the street knows who they are, knows who he is. They can recognize his face. Only two people who probably could do that is Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. That's how popular OBJ is. But the popularity, the hype, just hasn't met the on-the-field play. It hasn't met the production that he's been putting up. Hell, he had over 500-something receiving yards for Baltimore. Didn't really get injured that much when you look at his injury history on paper. But if you watched every Baltimore game from the first game to the final game, for the first couple of weeks, OBJ was always getting injured. He was always getting sent to the locker room. And then when the Ravens were actually able to get him healthy, it's like you only heard of him sparingly. He had a big play against the Cincinnati Bengals. He'll have some splash moments here and there that'll give you flashes to the past. But other than that, man, OBJ these last couple of years hasn't really given us a lot of memorable moments. And the last time I can recall OBJ being in that discussion, truly being one of the best receivers in the game, it's been nearly 5 years. I was a freshman in high school. Odell Beckham Jr., whoever is this Jared Bailey dude on X, you're 110% right. Even though I don't want to agree with you, if you're just looking at this from a logical standpoint, just the popularity, the hype machine that Odell Beckham Jr. is, every time you talk about him, he generates clicks, he generates ratings, he generates revenue. But when you look at the contract the Ravens gave him last year, $18, $19 million, and he only gave him 500 and something receiving yards, a few touchdowns, that was it, a couple of splash plays, that was a big finesse on his behalf. If he didn't have that one-handed catch, you wonder just what would his actual stock be? When you pay for OBJ, I don't feel like you're paying for what he currently is now as a player, per se. I think now you're paying more for, what he used to be. You're paying for name, you're paying for brand, you're paying for merchandising, you're paying for publicity. That's what you get when you sign Odell, because you don't really get anything on the field. One of the most popular players to ever play the game of football, and he's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Does it piss you off how much you pay for your monthly phone bill? Why are you getting frustrated when our partner Mint Mobile has plans as low as $15 a month that give you unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network? Stop getting frustrated with how much you spend on your monthly phone bill and go to trymintmobile.com/JTSports and description and pin comment down below to get access to premium wireless for only $15 a month. That's only $15 a month. Switching to Mint is easy. It only takes 15 minutes to do. If you're pissed off with how much you pay for your monthly phone bill, switch to Mint Mobile today and go to trymintmobile.com/JTSports in description and pin comment down below to get premium wireless for only $15 a month. Stop getting upset with how much you spend on your monthly phone bill and switch to Mint Mobile today. Hall of Fame talent. Injuries definitely derailed his career. I'll never forget the whole boat situation when him and a couple of other teammates were on that boat before that playoff game that they had, and he came out and him and the whole entire team just laid an egg. He had a couple of big drops. Also, the fight he had with Josh Norman during the game. There's just a lot of things with Odell Beckham Jr.'s career that we really could spend a lot of time talking about. But ultimately, I just think that the dude is really talented. When you think about OBJ 20 years from now, you'll say he's not in the Hall of Fame. But, when this dude first entered the league, his first 3-4 years, he was one of the most talented wide receivers of that time. And I still believe he's one of the best receivers ever from just a pure skill point standpoint, from what he could do after the catch, how good of a route runner he was. He was a jack of all trades wideout and a really special talent before injuries and ultimately the publicity and hype just got too much, and he hasn't been able to live up to that. And that's why Odell Beckham Jr. is the most overrated player, in my opinion, in the history of the NFL.